title of my talk today, the NICE job market. Okay, obvious pun. I work for NICE, as you heard, or the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education. And I'm going to tell you all about the work that we do and the government agency that we're led by. So let me just go forward and give you a little bit of an overview of what I'm going to talk about. So stick with me here. So we don't have a lot of time together, and I obviously have so much that I want to cover. We're going to talk a little bit about NICE and NIST. And if there weren't a bunch of acronyms, you wouldn't really know that we were with the government, right? So I'm going to share a bit about some of the truly incredible work that NIST does that impacts your life every second of every day. And just remember what I just said there. And we'll talk about cool jobs that are in DC and elsewhere in the country. And then beyond NIST, what kinds of federal cybersecurity jobs are there and where do I find them? Or public sector jobs in general in cybersecurity. And so this is information you may want to have today, or maybe it will be useful to you in a few years. You know, it's hard for me. I'm behind a screen. I can't see you, can't talk to you directly. So obviously there's a lot of assumptions I have to make in putting this deck together. So bear with me. But if you are in the CAE community, you already have several key advantages over so many other job seekers, which hopefully you already know. We're also going to talk about some NIST specific summer programs, and we're going to talk about the upcoming Cybersecurity Career Awareness Week, as well as we'll close out with some information about the NICE community. Now, as we go, please put your questions into chat, and I will do my best to cover them during our allotted time, and Vanessa and the other staffers will interrupt me if necessary to let me know. But you can also catch me in the platform or at the NICE booth later. So hopefully we're good, and we're going to dive right in. So let's look at this picture. This, my friends, is a beautiful springtime view of the Gaithersburg campus of NIST. And this is where most of the cybersecurity folks go to do their work, except for the last 2 years, of course. This is a 500-acre campus of forests and lakes, trails, animal life, groundhogs, deer, geese. And if you've got geese, you've got geese poop. So as you can imagine, it's just a magical, magical place. Now, most of you will also recognize this next picture, which is the 5 functions of the NIST cybersecurity framework. And you're probably pretty familiar because this is one of the most famous work products that comes from the cybersecurity people on the Gaithersburg campus. But that's not all we do at NIST. This is our other famous and major campus, and this one is in Boulder, Colorado. Now, you'll remember that I said that the work we do at NIST touches every second of our daily lives. So if your computer has a clock display, you can thank NIST for the accurate time it displays. If your cell phone has the time, or if you have a clock in the US that gets its time code from a radio signal, you can likely thank NIST for that feature. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is time.gov. You can, navigate your browser there at any time. That shows the official US time. I even have a clock in my backyard that keeps time that way from a satellite display of a radio signal. So that's kind of handy. Now, this next image, that is my favorite piece of NIST trivia. It literally stopped me in my tracks on my first day of work at NIST because there's a display of some standard reference materials for manufacturers in the hallway. We have a standard for peanut butter manufacturers. Now, you can buy this from us. You can buy a standard jar of reference peanut butter, but I promise you, you would not want to. It's really expensive, costs over $1,000, and it's meant to provide a standard for things like viscosity and spreadability and weight and nutrition, but probably not for taste. So go NIST. NIST is a remarkable government agency providing a number of different resources for people, not least of which cybersecurity standards and references. Okay, so let's get a little bit further into what we do that's relevant to you and jobs that you might be interested in. So the work that we do at NIST. NIST is organized into 5 different labs, and among them is our Information Technology Lab. So here's where we seek to cultivate the trust in IT and metrology. And metrology, if you don't know that term, great Scrabble word, literally the science of measurements. And we seek to cultivate the trust that we do through our work on measurements and standards and testing. Now, what's crucial is that our work isn't isolated in some research lab. Everything we do is done in collaboration with the public, and that's why NIST work becomes so widely adopted. Now, our work within the ITL lab also is done in the Applied Cybersecurity Division, and that's in fact where I sit. And as the name suggests, the work of the Applied Cybersecurity Division is inherently practical, and the work has expanded significantly to include privacy and risk management. And in fact, this is the division where the NIST cybersecurity framework effort is centered, along with the NICE workforce framework for cybersecurity. And as I said, that's where the group that I represent, the NICE team, the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education, sits. And you can see there are a number of different organizations and groups that sit within the Applied Cybersecurity Division, including the National Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, which is a remarkable research facility where industry can come together and work in collaboration with research scientists to work on shared projects of cybersecurity nature. So for example, healthcare manufacturers like the makers of medical devices can work on shared issues around cybersecurity of a cybersecurity nature with NIST researchers and solve and look for standard best practices together. So really remarkable things happening in ACD. All right, so as I mentioned, this is where NICE sits. So a little bit more about NICE. So as you already know, the work that we do in NICE is led by NIST, and NIST sits within the US Department of Commerce. And the focus of our work is entirely on the workforce side of the cybersecurity equation. And our community activities work as necessary to the community to educate, train, and develop that workforce. And as mentioned, our top work product is the NICE framework. So the NICE framework, and you see here the categories of work, it provides a common lexicon or language about the people and the work that they do. It describes the knowledge and skill statements around cybersecurity tasks. Now, this is an ongoing, it's a living effort that the community engages in. So it's never one and done. It doesn't sit on a shelf and is considered finished, because cybersecurity work, the work that you are learning and training to go into, it continues to evolve. The industry is always evolving. New fields of practice emerge. The demands change because obviously the threats emerge. The threat vectors expand. And so the demands from the private sector and from the government of what we need to do to defend this space continue to evolve. So as in reflecting on that work, the framework continues to evolve. So the knowledge and skills statements to describe the tasks, this language has been adopted by the federal government to describe the work we do in the federal government. And increasingly, the private sector is also adopting the NICE framework. So that means when you go to look for a position in the federal government, the work roles will talk about language in the NICE framework. So it's increasingly important for you as a job seeker to really understand what is in the NICE framework. So I would encourage you to go out and look at the NICE framework, start to understand what's in there, become familiar with some of the terminology. And there's a link here to our website where you can go and link to and learn more about it. Now, I would also encourage you, if at some point you're thinking even about the private sector, to know a bit about it, because as I said, the private sector is also adopting it. Now, what does it mean by people adopting the NIST framework? So you will see when you go and look at job descriptions, language from the NIST framework starting to appear. You will also, for example, see in the academic community that courses are being mapped to the NIST framework. So that might mean that an instructor has looked at the knowledge statements in the NIST framework and has evaluated what their course is mapping, right? So they're saying, oh, these work roles, my course is relevant for these work roles. You may also see that some of the industry certification providers like CompTIA, RIC Squared, they're also looking at the NIST framework and doing some evaluations or mappings to these certifications. Now, at the moment, there isn't a formal system out there that says, this is a certification to say, yes, that they've done their work. And, it's a bit of an honor system because this is really a community-driven mechanism right now. But again, my point here is I would encourage you to be familiar with the framework because there's some advantages to all of you to start adopting some of this into your own job search. Okay, so what do I mean by that? As I said, this is standardized language. So there is a link at the bottom of this slide. This is a resource from CISA, C-I-S-A. That's part of the Department of Homeland Security. So they've built a website that's commonly referred to as the NICS portal. And they have a number of tools out there for people to start using the NIST framework. You'll remember that I said that across the federal government, it's now a requirement that the federal government adopt the NIST framework. So this is an important consideration for you as you're looking for a job because the framework helps people standardize language to describe cybersecurity work. You see the bullet point around employers are shifting to skills-based hiring. This is really important, regardless of whether you apply for jobs in the federal government or the private sector, because employers want you to tell them what you can do. That's skills. That doesn't mean tell them what courses you took, right? Not everybody understands what the name of a course at your university implies, right? Tell me what you learned. Tell me what you can do for them. So I've given you an example of a skills statement directly from the NIST framework. This is a skills statement number 4, skill in analyzing network traffic capacity. It's very specific. I have a marketing background. You might not expect I would find a skill statement in the NIST framework, but I promise you there are skill statements that I can glean that are appropriate to my communication skills or my ability to talk about policy or, a number of different things. And that's because, again, the NIST framework was developed in a collaborative way with people from a variety of different backgrounds because cybersecurity work is incredibly varied. So again, I encourage you to become familiar with the purpose and the use of the NIST framework. It can really be of value to you in your job hunt and throughout your career, really. Okay, something I want to talk to you next is CyberSeek. I'm really hoping that this has come up to you in some of your courses and in preparing for, looking for work. Cyberseek.org is a great website, and the data comes to you from an effort that we funded at NICE. Just know that this is a map that shows open jobs throughout the country in cybersecurity. Remember, there's a wide variety of jobs out there, but this shows the concentration of the most jobs by state. So as I said, not all jobs are to be found in one location in the United States. And this shows that, of course, there's a lot of jobs in California, Texas, the DC area, no surprise. But this gives you a lot of information, right? There's an incredible 714,000 open positions in cybersecurity. And these open jobs, right? They're everywhere. But what I also want to point out is when this data got updated in June, there was an incredible 48% increase over the last update. And that, when you compare to the rest of the job market, that only grew 18%. So you might ask, why is cybersecurity growing so rapidly? And that's not only due to, again, incredible growth in threats, but it's also that increasingly every sector is recognizing they need to staff up in cybersecurity. So in some sectors where maybe previously they were outsourcing these roles, they're bringing them now in-house. Or whereas previously they maybe had 1 or 2 people doing cybersecurity, now they're expanding their teams. So, oh my goodness, what a great time for you to be getting into cybersecurity. There are roles. So, right, this is an incredible time, lots of work, lots of opportunities out there. And there are opportunities in every region of the country and every sector. So lots of great data on this map. And where are all the jobs? They are, of course, in DC. But the more time you spend on this site, the more you can learn. So going forward, this is public sector data. Yes, CyberSeek can help you understand not only where are the jobs, but what sectors. So you can drill down onto public and private sector. You can look at sectors like, healthcare sector, finance sector. There's just a lot of great data here. So public sector jobs, not just in DC, throughout the country, because of course, there are federal locations, there are military sites, there are defense work everywhere throughout the country. There are state jobs. There's just a lot of work in cybersecurity, and I would just encourage you to remember that as you're looking for work. You don't necessarily have to be in the DC area, but it's a great place to get started. But just keep that all in mind. And
Hi,
here you
Marian.
can search. Yeah.
Marian. Hi,
Yeah.
it's Vanessa. I have 2 internship questions. Do you mind taking
Great.
them?
Please,
Okay, so
drink water while you do.
all right. So our first one is from Jan. She is a second-year major in cybersecurity at Wilmington University, and she's looking. She wants to know if it's okay to apply to internships now, or do you have any suggestions for the type of internship she should be applying to?
Well, there's no reason not to apply for internships at any time. And in fact, there are internships you can do during the school year as well as during the summer. I know that at NIST, for example, we've often had interns during the school year, and there are part-time internships that can be accommodated depending on the agency. So I think that that's often an opportunity. It just depends on your schedule and the opportunities available to you and the kinds of research programs you're looking for. So I'm sorry if that wasn't specific enough, but I would encourage you to bring that up at the career fair at the booths you visit.
Yeah, sounds great. And my second one is from Julie. So she just graduated with her master's in cybersecurity. And she wants to know if she should be looking for an internship or more of a full-time job at this point. Do you have any suggestions?
Again, congratulations. That sounds terrific. It kind of depends what your background is and what your field of work was in. There are incredible opportunities out there. And if you want to do some research for a while and pick up some specific experiences, you might again talk to the folks in the career fair and see if there are some short-term research projects that appeal to you, because perhaps you want to build up some specific skills. Maybe you're not quite ready to get the full-time position because there are things you want to accomplish. It really just depends what your goals are. And maybe you're just looking to try some things out first. But no harm in talking to the employers and see what speaks to you.
Thank you, Marian. Those are the 2 that we had right now. We'll keep monitoring the chat for everyone, and you can go ahead and continue. Thanks.
Yeah, great questions. Yeah. So back to the CyberSeek data, I would encourage you guys to get familiar with what's on there. I'm just looking at the map, but there's so much more. It's very rich. There's information here not only on metro areas, but there's information here on titles and average salaries. There's things about skills that employers are looking for. And this, of course, is very private sector and public sector data. So please get familiar with the site. There's a lot of good research that goes into it, and it's very robust. It gets updated several times a year. So although it's not live data, I think you will find it very helpful. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about government hiring, which is kind of quirky. It's a little different from the private sector. And I think for those of us in the CAE community, it's important to know these things, right? So look, Mom, a 2210. When I came to work to the federal government, I have to admit, I was in the private sector for a very long time. And when I came to work to the federal government, I had some things to learn. So everywhere I turned, new acronyms to learn and new terminology. But what really confused me was the job titles I had to apply for. I had to apply to become an IT specialist. And as I said earlier, I think I applied. I have 2 marketing degrees. I have an MBA. I have an MBA. So, and I was coming to NIST to be an industry liaison for the NIST program office. So the way that the Office of Personnel Management classifies a very wide category of federal government work in cybersecurity is as a 2210. And so this is how you will find a very broad array of positions listed at usajobs.gov or at the cybersecurity careers focused site, which is cybercareers.gov. So I've put a few examples of jobs that are live on the site right now. You can see these titles, whether they're IT specialist or IT cybersecurity specialist from different agencies. But just note, when you read the job descriptions themselves, pay attention to some of the details on those job descriptions because they really vary, right? So some of the 2210s will be like for the Chief Information Security Officer, very senior positions requiring many, many years of experience and a number of industry certifications. But you'll also find like policy analysts, which, might be a little bit more junior and not quite as technical. And they all fall into this 2210 classification. Not faulting it, it's just kind of the way the system is right now. But it's relevant to you, and you kind of need to know that when you get started. Another caveat that I want you to be aware of when you're getting started, here's what the usajobs.gov site looks like. And when you get started there are some things you just need to know when you get started. You're going to have to create a login.gov account. And even if you did it a while ago, maybe you applied for an internship and you did it, you might need to do it again because they've now added multi-factor authentication. I don't remember exactly when they did that. No big deal, just do it again. Might have to, use a new email address. I don't know. But this is just a hoop to go through. And this is what the cybercareers.gov site looks like. There's some nice features on the cybercareers focused version, talks a little bit more about some of the specific types of jobs in cybersecurity. There's some examples of people doing this kind of work. So I would encourage you just to navigate around on that site too. Something to know also, that if you're applying for some jobs, like if you come by the NIST booth, you need to use usajobs.gov. It's part of our process. And you'll learn a bit more about that if you do drop by our booth. Okay. So let's talk about some of the things we have on an ongoing basis. We have a great undergraduate program to do research projects. And even during COVID, when it was remote, and I'm kind of hoping we'll be back in person next summer. We usually have some really great projects on an ongoing basis. And it's called SURF, which is a great acronym, the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship. It runs from May through August, usually for about 11 weeks. And it's open to students both from 2- and 4-year institutions. There are some requirements, of course. You do need to be a US citizen or have legal resident status. There are, of course, some other like academic requirements, but it is a paid fellowship. And if it does go back to being in person, I think there will be some housing and travel stipends. So it's a pretty good sitch. And it culminates with a colloquium and a presentation. And that's always a great experience because if it's in person, all the NIST researchers come and you network. It's really lovely. I'm a big fan, as you can tell. So just note, applications open in December. They definitely close in February. Those are pretty hard and fast. There's information at the URL below. And if folks want, I can share my slides, but we'll also give out this information in our booth. The booth will be staffed all throughout today, so you can drop by and we'll give out that information. Let's see, we also have our Pathways program. You'll find Pathways program at most federal agencies. We have a version of that. And we have openings throughout various NIST offices, and that can range all the way from high school opportunities to post and recent grad positions. But note, this will vary by posting, and it can often be an entry point to a full-time career, but it depends. So these positions often get posted at usajobs.gov if there's an opening, so you sometimes just have to search. And there can be some limitations about how long it lasts, and it can convert. But I will say, I do know some people at NIST who have converted to full-time staff this way. So it's quite robust, quite real. So I'm going to just go on. I want to talk to you about an ongoing program that we have at NICE, which is our webinars. So I think this is really relevant to all of you as job seekers and people who are going into the field. I want you to know about some of the webinars that we do on a monthly basis that you should go to our website at nist.gov/NICE. You should register for these. You don't have to attend them. They all get recorded. And we have a couple of hidden gems right now that you should know about. So there's a couple. One is called The Challenge of Getting a First Cybersecurity Job. That one was from June of 2020. And the next is Career Opportunities in the Federal Government. A little bit older. It's from November 2019, but still really relevant. The third one, Optimizing Your LinkedIn Profile, really fresh, June of this year. So that's 3 really good ones that you can watch anytime, all recorded. You can always download the slides too. Now, 2 of them are still to come. Overcoming the entry-level job conundrum. If you sign up right now, you'll be in good shape. It's coming up really soon. And then Preparing for Careers in Cybersecurity and Privacy with internships. I mean, there's just always good stuff going on. So if you go to our nist.gov/NICE website, just go under events on the left-hand navigation, and you can sign up for the webinars. You'll always get notified about the ones that are coming up. And really, they are designed with people like you in mind. So please, I hope you'll take advantage of that. So next thing I want to talk to you about, up and coming, is the Cybersecurity Career Awareness Week. So you are no doubt aware that every October, every year, is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And the 3rd week is designated for career awareness, because you heard when I was talking about the CyberSec data that we've got an unbelievable number of open positions. So if we're going to improve the chances that young people, and I'm not talking about your age, I'm talking about middle school kids, right? Because that's the age at which people think about what careers to go into. If more young people start considering this field, I mean, we're going to have to plant those seeds, right? So what happened that planted the seed for each of you? Did you see something on TV? Did you have a guest speaker in your classroom? Was it a parent or a friend that told you about their job? At some point, somebody exposed you to the topic of cybersecurity, or you read about the topic, or there was a career concept somewhere that led you to today. So we want you to think about how you can share your knowledge, your love for this topic with others. If you can do something during Cybersecurity Career Awareness Week, it could be very small. It could be something on social media. It could be something as large as doing a talk. It could be something very small as talking to your younger siblings or cousins. Please think about something you could do. You can go to the website up on the slide. You can work with your professors to do something big at your university. Really, sky's the limit. We just need some activities to help us spread the word, because we need whatever experience led you to be here today at this career fair to get replicated, and for more young people to get into this field so that we have a hope of closing this talent shortage. So I hope that you'll mark this on your calendar and join us in doing something for Cybersecurity Career Awareness Week, because we really could use you, and we could use your skills and your knowledge and some fresh ideas. Excellent. So thank you for that. I'm going to close out with just another call for your action and your commitment in joining our community. We have a lot of things that we do throughout the year, not just during Cybersecurity Career Awareness Week. First and foremost, NIST is a community. Everything we do, from our framework as a resource, which is built to serve the needs of everyone, everything we do is focused on the needs of a community. We have public working groups and communities of interest. We have a regular newsletter that goes out to the public. We have those monthly webinars that I mentioned. We have the CyberSeek data, again, meant to help the public to have more information and metrics around the cybersecurity workforce needs. We have a public and annual conference and expo. There's an image here from what we held in June in Atlanta. It will next be held in June in Seattle, and you are all welcome to attend. We have a K-12 focused conference that will be in December in St. Louis. So I hope that you will please consider how you might join us in this community as you enter the field as professionals, as you build your careers. And I hope that I've shared some new concepts or ideas with you today. And I just want to say to all of you, you've really picked a great time to prepare and enter the field of cybersecurity. It's really varied, and there's every chance that the type of work that you are starting to do in your first position, it will not even be related to the work that you will be doing in 5 or 10 years from now. This industry is changing so fast, and there is just so much opportunity for you to continue to learn and grow. So please be sure to stop by the NIST booth today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of today's speakers and the rest of today's career fair. So I'm going to open it up for the rest of the time I have. If there are any other questions, and Vanessa, please help me to know what those might be.
Yes. All right, Marian, we have a couple more questions. We have about 10 minutes left. All right, so this question comes from, let me see.
And I can stop sharing. Let me.
All right, I think you're pinned. There we go. Okay. Does NIST or NICE have positions for 0854s?
You're going to have to tell me more about that. What is a 0854? And if I can't answer the question, I'm going to point you towards the booth, because I know that my team has a lot of great info over there.
Okay. We're gonna work on what 0854s are. I wasn't sure what that was either.
Are you speaking hex? You're speaking hex. I know it.
I must be. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. Are there resources regarding apprenticeships in cybersecurity?
Oh my God, I could
share
speak
with
about it.
Everyone.
I could speak about apprenticeships from now until forever. We are in the middle of a 100-day cybersecurity apprenticeship sprint. Don't know if you knew that. We are promoting cybersecurity apprenticeships across the country. And in fact, there is a website where people can go for more information. In fact, well, I don't know if I can pull up that link while we're talking. Where people can go get more information. I'll see if I can put that in the chat. But yeah, there's a, wait, if I can put that for everyone. Am I able to put it for everyone? Where can I put for everyone? I don't know if I'm allowed to put it for everyone. Anyway, it's, can I send it to you, Vanessa? I'll put it for Tony. Tony, can you post it for everyone?
Yeah, go ahead and send it to one of us, and then we'll post it.
Yeah, so So we also have a map up at the NICE website. We have a NICE apprenticeship finder. Apprenticeships, if you're not familiar, is kind of a learn and earn opportunity. So while people are gaining skills on the job, they are getting paid a full wage. And as their skills increase, the employer continues to increase their wages. And at the end of the experience, they're converted to a full-time position. So it's an opportunity for an employer to customize the training, and it's kind of a win-win. You know, people walk directly into a position while they're learning the skills in cybersecurity. So it's kind of a great opportunity.
Great answer.
And there are over 700 cybersecurity apprenticeship programs in the United States right now.
All right. So I solved the mystery of the 0854, which is just another way of saying computer engineering. So does NICE have any positions for computer engineering?
So maybe not at NICE, but definitely NIST. Yes, so NIST definitely has positions like that.
Okie dokie. And okay, this one is, oh, go ahead.
I see a question about the difference between apprenticeships and internships. So apprenticeships are jobs. That's the key difference. Internships are usually limited opportunities, 3 to 5 months, no promise of a job at the end, whereas an apprenticeship is a job sponsored by an employer, and it's a learn and earn. So usually an opportunity with, it's an employer-led opportunity with, it's paid. As your skills increase, your pay increases. There's related technical instruction, and there's mentoring. And at the end of it, there's a credential, to recognize what you've learned. And you can get more information about what an apprenticeship is by going to apprenticeship.gov. It's a more rigorous program.
Great answer. This one is from a student who is already working. So students who are already working, how can they transition into cybersecurity jobs without going through internships?
So if you're already working, I mean, the first thing to do is check with your own employer, because, for example, if you're in a sector, let's say healthcare, it's very possible that the experience you have with your employer can translate to very high value if you move into cybersecurity. So that's one thing to look for. A lot of employers are introducing upskilling and reskilling programs where they'll even send you to get that cybersecurity training to retain you as a valued employee. And if there isn't anything of that sort, they might build it for you to keep you. Just depends on the employer. So look for that opportunity first by going to find the chief information security officer or a director of cybersecurity at the employer and see if they're open to that opportunity. And if that isn't the case, then you might have to look for that sort of program elsewhere. Another opportunity might be to look for networking opportunities, like with ISACA or other industry sort of networking programs in your community, where you can find out about who's hiring in your local community, and they may be able to provide you other information. I see a question about online resources to acquire skills rather than be in an organization. We actually have a page on the NICE website. So that's nist.gov/NICE with free and low-cost online resources for training. So it's actually the #1 trafficked page on our website. So I would encourage you to visit that page on our website. There's lots of programs where you can do self-directed courses. In fact, ISE Squared just launched. They're giving away 1 million entry-level certifications and exams for the first 1 million people to sign up. They just announced that. Not trying to plug them. It's just like top of mind because they just announced it. So I apologize to anybody who feels I slighted them by mentioning them. Yeah, thank you, Julie. I didn't overlook that. Does NIST or NICE have opportunities for those with limited experiences? I should mention that NICE is a very small office, so we do occasionally have openings for positions, but you're welcome to look at NIST is a slightly larger organization, so you should look at the positions we have available, which are listed at usajobs.gov. We do often have some research positions available, which are, more temporary of nature.
All right, there. Oh, go ahead.
I know I'm coming up on time. There is a question about entry-level jobs that asks for experience. This is a problem, obviously, throughout the industry. And we are working very hard to discourage employers from doing this. So this is actually a distinct problem. I would encourage you to apply anyway and talk about the skills that you have. So even when a job says that they're looking for entry level, but they say we want people with 5 to years experience, talk about the skills, what you come to the job ready to do. Similarly, if an employer is asking for a certificate, say that you are ready to earn that certificate on the job, because know that a lot of certificates are expensive, and that can be a gating factor and actually kind of in a discriminatory practice. So if it's very important to the employer, just ask, would they be willing to sponsor you getting that certificate on the job in the first 6 months, say? An employer should be willing to sponsor you. That's my position on that.
All right, Marian. Well, we thank you so much again for speaking with everyone. I know everyone appreciated it. I know we did. And just to remind everybody out there that we will be collecting all of the questions and emailing you the answers after the after the career fair. But thank you again.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. Great questions, and I'll try to answer them afterwards as best I can.